This is NBK, nothing but Knicks. When Sim pass the assist, you know that it's #1 show that breaks down the game. If you can't play defense, stay out my way. Dribble the ball, come down the lane. 5 seconds on the shot clock, who gon' win us the game? You wanna hear Nick updates and trade rumors? Post-game reviews, this the place you tune in. So tell a friend just to keep the ball moving. Like the page if you feeling the movement. Every game we coming to win. Give us a sub like a player that came off the bench. This is NBK, nothing but Knicks.
Knicks family, what's poppin'? It's your boy. Ladies and gentlemen, the New York Knicks take on the Cleveland Cavaliers tonight at Madison Square Garden. And folks, the Knicks got to get this game, man. They can't mess around going a 5-game losing streak, another 5-game losing streak, man. They got to get this win against the Cleveland Cavaliers, ladies and gentlemen. It's not going to be easy. There's no doubts about it. You know what I mean? I mean, you're dealing with, you're dealing with one of the top teams in the Eastern Conference. Right? A very, very good defensive team. So it's not like this is going to be, I know the Knicks beat them earlier, but this is a game that the Cleveland Cavaliers, they're sitting at 5th seed, 10 games above 500. The Knicks, currently in the 7th seed, 2 games above 500. And the Knicks in the past haven't matched up the greatest, should I say, against the Cleveland Cavaliers. Right? So it becomes very, very difficult. This is a team with length, very good defensively. It's going to be a tough game for the Knicks. I do think the Knicks, with the addition of Donovan Mitchell, and this is going to sound crazy to some people, but I do feel with the addition of Donovan Mitchell, the matchups are a little bit better for the Knicks. And I'm just speaking matchup-wise. All right? I'm not talking about talent. I'm just talking matchups and like size, et cetera, style of play, et cetera, et cetera. Right? So I do think the matchups are a little bit better. In the past, for whatever reason, I didn't like the matchups. And I still don't like the matchups at the 4 and the 5 spots, especially with Mitchell Robinson being out right now. Not especially fond of those matchups. Right? But I do think the Knicks have the ability. I am concerned about Jalen Brunson matching up against Darius Garland. No lies there, because Darius Garland can, he's definitely a baller, and he's going to put a lot of pressure on Jalen Brunson. You know what I'm saying? To have to defend. Now, how do you go about it? Maybe you decide you're going to put R.J. Barrett on Darius Garland, and you put Quentin Grimes on Donovan Mitchell. Right? Maybe that's the answer. And then this way, Jalen Brunson can guard Isaac Okoro, because Isaac Okoro's not, he's not the kind of guy that's going to kill you, probably. Although, he's had his days in the NBA where he's come off, but he's probably not going to kill you. Right? Not that great of a shooter and not that great of a scorer. And would have a great size advantage over Jalen Brunson. All right. So, we'll see how those matchups look. Right now, of course, we know Mitchell Robinson is out. Emmanuel Quickley is questionable again. Donovan Mitchell, who had been not playing for the Cleveland Cavaliers, is probable tonight. And you figured he was going to be probable against the Knicks. what I'm saying? He wasn't going to miss playing against the Knicks. He's going to be probable tonight. All right, so, you're probably going to get, for the most part, their starting lineup out there on the floor. Now, they've been starting Isaac Okoro at that small forward spot. We'll see if that continues. All right, I guess they figured they needed more defense out there on the floor. For the Knicks, you got Jalen Brunson, Quentin Grimes, R.J. Barrett, Julius Randle, and Jericho Sims. For the Cleveland Cavaliers, Darius Garland, as I said, Donovan Mitchell is probable. Right, so Donovan Mitchell, Isaac Okoro, Evan Mobley, and Jarrett Allen. The Knicks, this, I believe, is going to be the first time that the Knicks are facing off against Jarrett Allen this season. I don't think they faced off the previous 2 games. So that right there is a big change in the way that the Knicks approach this basketball game, ladies and gentlemen. All right, Jarrett Allen, defensive all-star type center, right? And of course, if the Knicks had Mitchell Robinson, the matchup would be a little bit better. Right, but without Mitchell Robinson, you definitely lack the size because Jericho Sims, for all that he does not have the same type of length as Mitchell Robinson. Right? We were talking about it last night. After the Queens Court, me, Tony, and Steph, we were having a discussion about Mitchell Robinson and Jericho Sims. And, while the numbers are the same or can be the same from Jericho Sims, the impact is not the same. Defensively, rebounding, or offensively. See, Mitch, he has his nights where he fades away. There's no doubt about it. But when you're talking about defense, right, Jericho Sims is 6'9", 6'10". He can jump out the building, but he doesn't have the same reach as Mitchell Robinson. Well, Mitchell Robinson, he can still jump, but he's 7'1", and he's got length. His arms are long. So he doesn't have to jump as high to block a shot, which means there's less time for him to get off the floor. He's just got to raise his arms up and maybe elevate a little bit. With Jericho Sims, in order to get to the height of Mitchell Robinson, he has to get off the floor, which takes up a little bit more time. And when you're talking about playing in the NBA, those split seconds that you need to get off the floor or, to take this angle or that angle make a big difference. So Jericho doesn't have the same impact as Mitchell Robinson does. And now he's going up against an all-star caliber center in Jarrett Allen tonight. This is going to be a difficult one for... Actually, the Knicks did play against Jarrett Allen in the first game. Excuse me. The Knicks lost 121-108. Jarrett Allen in the first game had 6 points, 13 rebounds. All right, 6 points, 13 rebounds. Mitchell Robinson did play in that game. He only had 4 points and 7 rebounds. Wasn't a good night for the Knicks. Evan Mobley also played in that game. It was Darius Garland who did not play. In the second game, the Knicks versus the Cleveland Cavaliers, the Knicks won that game. It was a tight game, 92-81. The Knicks won it, held the Cleveland Cavaliers to 81 points. And in that game, Evan Mobley was at center because Jarrett Allen did not play. Lamar Stevens played at forward. Diakate played at the other forward position. Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland played. The Knicks will be seeing these guys, for the most part, at full strength. So now we'll really get a chance to see how the Knicks can match up against this team at full strength. It's a little bit of a scary proposition, I guess. Not exactly sure how the Knicks are going to be. Right now the Knicks are not in a great space mentally, I think. I think there's a little bit of pressure, and there should be a little bit of pressure, to be honest with you. There should be a little bit of pressure. The Knicks should feel desperate to win this game. Because if they, if the Knicks lose this game, now you're talking about, if they lose to Cleveland tonight, there's a chance that the Knicks are on go on a 7-game losing streak. They're on a 4-game losing streak right now. They lose to Cleveland tonight, that'll be 5. Then they play Boston and Brooklyn. Right? The Knicks need, the desperation should be setting in for this basketball game. Without a doubt, they should feel desperate and scared. And being scared equates to desperation. Whatever you got to do, Tom Thibodeau, to win this game is what you got to do. Whatever it is you got to do. Some people will say that's playing Cam Reddish. I don't think that's going to happen, but if that's what Tom Thibodeau feels he needs to do, that's what he's got to do. You know what I mean? So you see the projected starting lineups. I don't think the defensive matchups are going to parallel the starting lineups the way that they're set up here on the screen. I think it'll look something like this. Quentin Grimes on Darius Garland. R.J. Barrett, Donovan Mitchell. Jalen Brunson on Isaac Okoro. And why? Because Isaac Okoro is not a scorer per se, right? Isaac Okoro is not going to come in and, he's averaging 5.8 points per game on the season, 2.5 rebounds. And it's like, he did have a 17-point game against Memphis on January 18th, but since then, 4 points against Golden State, 9 points against Milwaukee. He's been getting 24, 25 minutes per game. So he's been playing. He's been starting at that small forward position. So that's the way I would have these matchups be. And of course, Quentin Grimes and R.J. Barrett, they can switch if need be. The reason why I'm going Quentin Grimes on Darius Garland and R.J. Barrett on Mitchell is really because of the height thing, right? Donovan Mitchell about 6'4", maybe I would say barely 6'4", probably 6'2". Darius Garland also a small guard. Quentin Grimes 6'5", R.J. Barrett 6'7". Now, to be honest with you, it's going to be hard for R.J. Barrett to stay in front of either one of those guys, but it's also going to be hard for Jalen Brunson to stay in front of either one of those guys. So maybe you put length on them and size on them. Try to hold them at bay. But that's how I have the matchups from the guard standpoint. Julius Randle, Evan Mobley, ladies and gentlemen. That's it's a good matchup, right? Julius Randle should get his thing off. He should play well, I think, against Evan Mobley on the offensive side. Can he do it on the defensive side, though, right? Evan Mobley, every once in a while, can shoot it out, take it out to the three-point line and knock it down. He can post. He's a really good basketball player, Evan Mobley is. Really good ball player, averaging 15.1 points per game, 8.9 rebounds per game so far this season. He is shooting 56% from the field, only 17% from the three-point line, though. Right? He's not going to take a ton of those attempts, but he can. We've seen him knock them down. We've seen him knock him down. Evan Mobley is, 6'11", 215. Julius Randle, I think, does pretty good against guys with that kind of size, though. He's normally able to bring those guys out on the perimeter, break them down, go to the basket. Now, you got another long guy in there in Jared Allen that's coming from the weak side. So that can make it difficult for Julius Randle and all of those guys trying to penetrate to the basket. Evan Mobley in the previous game versus the Knicks, 11 points, 10 rebounds. All right, so, not great numbers. Part of the reason why, the Cleveland Cavaliers lost that game. In the first game, he had 16 points and 7 rebounds. So I think the Knicks can keep this guy pretty much at bay if they defend him correctly. Julius Randle in the first matchup, 15 points, 9 rebounds, and 7 assists versus the Cleveland Cavaliers. The Knicks will need much more than that, I believe, from Julius Randle. Julius Randle in the second matchup, 18 points and 9 rebounds. During the time of these matchups, I don't think Julius Randle was playing the type of basketball he's playing now. Now, he hasn't, in recent games, he hasn't been fully efficient. He was pretty efficient versus Toronto in the last game. I think he had 32 points, 19 rebounds, or 23 points, 19 rebounds, whatever it was. He was efficient from the field. But he's kind of been up and down since RJ's been back. Julius Randle's got to be, but he's more aggressive. He understands what he needs to do better. And he's been killing it on the boards. 19 rebounds versus the Raptors. The Knicks will need Julius Randle to rebound tonight versus the Cavs because you're missing Mitchell Robinson. Now, Jericho Sims, he'll grab 8 boards, but Randle's going to have to smash the boards tonight. He's going to have to be aggressive. He's going to have to, in my opinion, impose his will. Right? Impose his will on the Cleveland Cavaliers tonight. RJ Barrett's been playing well offensively. The Knicks will need RJ Barrett to continue playing well offensively. If Isaac Okoro is guarding RJ Barrett, he'll make it difficult on RJ. Now, I could see Isaac Okoro, maybe guarding Jalen Brunson. Teams have taken that philosophy or that strategy of, we'll try to shut down Jalen Brunson and see what the rest of the team can do. So I wouldn't put it past them. But then you're going to have Darius Garland or Donovan Mitchell guarding RJ Barrett. And I don't know if that's that could be trouble because RJ Barrett can post up a little bit. So if you got if you got Darius Garland or Donovan Mitchell guarding Jalen Brunson, RJ should be able to post those guys up. Plus, Cleveland will be chancing foul trouble with those guys. Right? And, they can't afford for those guys to get into foul trouble. So I would expect, if Darius Garland is guarding Jalen Brunson, he could get into some foul trouble too with Jalen Brunson. But the Cavs, ladies and gentlemen, are a very good defensive team. So, they know how to defend without fouling. You got Jericho Sims and Jared Allen. I would fully expect Jared Allen to win that matchup. But this is a time, ladies and gentlemen, where Jericho Sims can look and say, you know what? I can prove myself. I can prove myself. All right, I'm playing against an all-star center. He's got some size on me, some length on me. But I can prove to the Knicks coaching staff, to the NBA, that I can play at this level. I don't know. It's going to be a tough matchup for the Knicks tonight. I do think the Knicks can win this game. right? I do. I think they can win the game. They're going to have to grind it out. It's going to have to be a battle, right? They've got to be more determined than ever because of the way the schedule is laid out for them, or against them, if you want to say. I mean, when you look at the schedule of the Knicks coming up, and we'll do that before we end the show. When you look at the schedule of the Knicks, ladies and gentlemen, it is a tough schedule from now until March. It really is. It is a tough schedule. The Knicks have got to be ready to ball. Because it's going to be a battle. When you look at the bench, ladies and gentlemen, Emmanuel Quickley continues to be questionable for the Knicks. We'll see if he's able to make it back tonight. The Knicks need him because they have no help coming off the bench scoring-wise. Now, Obi Toppin, he was hot from the three-point line versus Toronto. Let's hope that it continues. And he can remain hot from that three-point line. A lot of things need to go right for Obi Toppin, to get his shot off. If Emmanuel Quickley is out, he doesn't have Emmanuel Quickley to work with. So now he's working with Deuce. He's working with Isaiah Hartenstein. Then there'll be Jalen Brunson and R.J. Barrett running with the second unit. Evan Fournier, let me not forget Evan Fournier, running with that second unit. All right, Jalen Brunson, is he really looking for Obi? I don't know. R.J. Barrett looking for Obi? I don't know. Obi's got to make his presence known. He's got to cut. He's got to call for the ball. Right? Obviously, he'll be able to get it on a swing and knock down those threes. Obi, hopefully, the previous game versus Toronto is, Obi feels like he's getting more comfortable, getting back comfortable. Because he was out for a while. As a matter of fact, for the amount of time that Obi was out, it's about the amount of time that Mitch is probably going to be out. So let's hope that Obi is getting back into the groove of things because the Knicks need help off the bench. Scoring-wise, they need help off the bench. Let's hope Emmanuel Quickley can be there tonight. The rumors are out there that there are teams like the Phoenix Suns who are interested in Emmanuel Quickley. The Phoenix Suns are looking to find Chris Paul's replacement, so obviously Fred VanVleet has come up. Emmanuel Quickley was in that conversation from a report that I read. I think the Knicks want to keep Emmanuel Quickley, but, his name's out there. He's got some value around the league. We had a big discussion last night on the Queen's Court about the value of players. Go check that out if you get a chance. Go check that out. It was a good show last night. Really good show. Interesting takes on that show last night from Eddie C. Very interesting takes. All right, so make sure you go check out that show, ladies and gentlemen. It was funny. Very funny. But on the bench, if Emmanuel Quickley does play, then of course you got Emmanuel Quickley on the bench for the Knicks. And excuse my voice, ladies and gentlemen, I'm still, just getting over a little bit of a cold, so my voice is kind of scratchy. Or still have the cold. I don't know what's happening. But anyway, Quickley, McBride, Obi Toppin, Isaiah Hartenstein. For the Cleveland Cavaliers, Dean Wade, Ricky Rubio, Kevin Love, Cedi Osman, Lamar Stevens. Dean Wade has been a thorn in the Knicks' side this season. Kevin Love as well. The Knicks, the Cleveland Cavaliers bench has averaged 30 points a game versus the Knicks. They got some guys, they got some people that can score. This is an area that concerns me because they can come in with 5 players. They can go 10 deep and give their starters some good rest. The Knicks can't do that. Not right now. And I know people are mad that Tom Thibodeau is not using the bench more. But you just don't get the production. See, when you look at the Cleveland Cavaliers, their bench gets production. Right? They produce 45% from the field. They're not shooting it well from three versus the Knicks. The bench isn't. Hold on, wait a minute. That's the wrong one. Let me get it back. The Cleveland Cavaliers bench versus the New York Knicks. Let me start this over real quick so I can make sure I'm giving you the right information. They're averaging 30 points a game, shooting 35% from three, but only 38% from the field. That's the Cleveland Cavaliers bench versus the Knicks. All right, 16.4 minutes per game. 14 rebounds, 6 assists. Cavaliers bench versus the Knicks. Now, when you flip it around, and this is going to be a little bit different because the Knicks and the Cavaliers played earlier in the season. Right? So you may see more production actually from this Knicks bench versus the Cavs. But of course, in that first game, the Knicks got stomped by the Cavs. So the Knicks bench versus the Cavs is actually averaging 34.5 points per game, 47% from the field, 21% from three. But of course, the first game that they played, you had guys like Derrick Rose playing. Cam Reddish, I think, maybe even played in that first game versus the Cavs. Right? The Knicks weren't successful in that first game versus the Cavs. In the first game versus the Cleveland Cavaliers, I'm going to read this out to you right now. Again, the Knicks lost 121-108. As I wait for the box score to jump up on my screen, you had Cam Reddish played 16 minutes. He had 7 points. Derrick Rose played 14 minutes. He had 7 points. Obi Toppin had 9 points. Emmanuel Quickly had 7 points. And Isaiah Hartenstein had 12 points and 9 rebounds versus the Cleveland Cavaliers in the first game. The Knicks lost the game 121-108. They played a pretty deep bench. In the second game versus the Cavs, again, the Knicks won the game 92-81. The Cavs, hampered with injuries, though. Donovan Mitchell, Darius Garland, Evan Mobley all played. Jared Allen did not play in that game. In this game, the bench was severely hampered. I don't want to say hampered. These guys just didn't play. Fournier did not play. Svi Mihalik obviously didn't play. Cam Reddish did not play. Derrick Rose did not play. Jericho Sims did not play. But the bench, Emmanuel Quickly had 12 points. Isaiah Hartenstein had 10 points. Obi Toppin had 5. That's at least 27 points right there. So the Knicks need the bench to produce tonight. I'll take 25 points from the bench if you can get it. Because the Cleveland Cavaliers bench is probably going to produce. Right? In each of these games, their bench has produced decently enough. Cedi Osman in game number 2, 10 points. Kevin Love, 8 points. Karis LeVert, 4 points. That's 22 points for the bench. The Knicks bench outplayed them in that game, right? And consequently, the Knicks won. In the first game, their bench definitely outplayed our bench, right? Because Kevin Love had 29 points off the bench. And really, he was the only guy to be in double digits off the bench. Excuse me, I got a little bit of a chill there. Robin Lopez had 2. Cedi Osman had 3. Raul Neto had 2. And Isaac Okoro had 2. The Knicks will need the bench tonight. They'll need the bench to play good, play some good basketball tonight. When you look at the team's comparison against one another, the Knicks are averaging 100 points per game versus the Cleveland Cavaliers. The Cavs 101. Again, there's been big swings in this series so far. One game, the Cavs had 121 points. The next game, 82, 81, whatever it was, 81. The Knicks win the battle of the boards, 49.5, but Mitchell Robinson is not there. Okay? Mitchell Robinson is not there tonight. Jericho Sims, 21 assists for the Knicks, 25 for the Cleveland Cavaliers. 7.5 steals for the Knicks, 5 for the Cavs, only 2.5 blocks for the Knicks. Some of it's because Mitchell Robinson didn't always play well. 5.5 for the Cavs. The Knicks, 17.5 turnovers, ladies and gentlemen, versus the Cleveland Cavaliers. The Cavs, 16.5. The Knicks have got to take care of the ball. 16 turnovers in the previous game versus Toronto. Right? The Toronto Raptors, only 7. When you play a team like the Raptors who aren't going to turn the ball over, if you turn it over, you're going to be in trouble because they're going to capitalize on it. Well, guess what? This Cavs team plays good defense. And if you turn it over, they'll capitalize on it as well. The only difference is they might turn it over too. And the Knicks will have to capitalize on that. The Knicks, 45% from the field versus the Cavs. The Cavs, 40.7%. 26.8% from the three-point line for the Knicks versus the Cavs. The Cavs, 42.5%. The Knicks, 67.6% from the free throw line. And the Cavs, 79.5%. Ladies and gentlemen, this game is going to come down to, in my opinion, turnovers, three-point shooting. And if it's tight, free throw shooting. The Knicks got to take care of the ball. You got to be able to shoot it. You got to score. And if it's tight, you got to hit free throws. And then, over everything, the Knicks have got to play defense. The Knicks have been a terrible defensive team over the last 15 games. Right? Terrible defensive team over the last 15 games. If they don't get it right, they can find themselves out of the playoffs, out of the play-in. Let me say that, not the playoffs, out of the play-in. So they've got to get that defense on point. And it's got to start tonight. The problem is you don't have practices in the NBA. Those practices go by the wayside really, really quick because of the way the schedule is set up. You play so many games, you just don't have time to practice. Then you got to figure out, how do we get our defense together? You got walkthroughs and things like that. But if the Knicks don't get their defense together, and this is why team leadership is so important, because you just don't have the practice time to pull things together the way that you would like to. Right? So that, having those leaders out there on the floor, in the locker room, et cetera, will help you to pull it together. But ladies and gentlemen, looking at the Knicks' upcoming schedule, it's a monster of a schedule that they have coming up. And, man, I really don't want to look at it like that because such a monster of a schedule. But we're going to go ahead and swing through it really, really quick just so you can see what the Knicks are up against over the next couple of weeks. Because it's a tough one. It's definitely a tough one. Let's take a look at this right here, ladies and gentlemen. The Knicks play the Cleveland Cavaliers tonight. All right, we already know what this game is going to be about. A tough matchup for the Knicks. You know what I'm saying? Recently, it's been a really tough matchup for the Knicks because of, the last couple of years, actually. It's been a tough matchup for the Knicks. Then Boston. Then Brooklyn. Then the Los Angeles Lakers, who, they're trying to make that playoff push. Right? The Los Angeles Lakers just picked up Rui Hachimura. They think he could be a piece that helps catapult them into the play-in or the playoffs. Then they play the Miami Heat, who they just surpassed the Knicks in the Eastern Conference. Then you got the Los Angeles Clippers, who are playing good basketball. Let's keep it moving. Then they got the 76ers, ladies and gentlemen, after the Clippers. Then Orlando. And I'm not even going to say that this is a rest game or an easy game for the Knicks. Because the Knicks have, fallen victim to some of these teams. Then you got the Philadelphia 76ers again. Then Utah. And Utah is much better than anyone expected, at least at the beginning of the season. Right? And there's still a team that's going to, compete. The Utah Jazz right now, 25-25, 8th in the Western Conference. Then you got the Brooklyn Nets. Then you got the Atlanta Hawks, who the Knicks just lost to, got blown out by. Then you got the Washington Wizards, who the Knicks just lost to. You got the Pelicans, who are a good basketball team. The Boston Celtics, the Brooklyn Nets, the Miami Heat, the Boston Celtics again. The Charlotte Hornets, who, can be a tough matchup for the Knicks sometimes. Maybe not this season. Then you got the Sacramento Kings, the Los Angeles Clippers, the Lakers, the Portland Trail Blazers. Right? The Portland Trail Blazers, they're 22-25 now. They've fallen. At one point, they were, a top 4 team in the Western Conference earlier in the season, but they've dropped. You got the Denver Nuggets, who are the number 1 team in the Western Conference. The Minnesota Timberwolves, right, who are the Timberwolves aren't what we thought they would be, but they're 9th in the Western Conference, 24-25. The Miami Heat, the Orlando Magic, the Houston Rockets, the Miami Heat, the Cleveland Cavaliers, right, the Washington Wizards, Indiana Pacers, Pelicans, Pacers. So, ladies and gentlemen, the Knicks are just about until April have a buzzsaw of a schedule. That's kind of been my new word nowadays. Buzzsaw. A tough schedule. They've got to be ready for it. They've got to be ready. It's a tough schedule, folks. You know what I mean? And, the Knicks got to be ready to put their head down and ball out. When you look at that schedule, you're like, wow, where the wind's coming. Honestly, you can look at that and say, where are we getting these wins at? It's a tough schedule. But the Knicks, they got to get some help at the trade deadline. I still want them to get some help at the trade deadline. You know what I mean? They got to get healthy with Mitchell Robinson. They got to get that second unit straight, and they got to get some help. And there's going to be people that say they need a new coach. That's probably, I'll tell you what, if the Knicks go on a massive losing streak, then yes, Tom Thibodeau's job will definitely be in jeopardy. There's no doubt about it. If they go on a massive losing streak, or not even a losing streak, but a stretch where, they lose 4 or 5 and win 1, lose 4 or 5 and win 1, Tom Thibodeau's job will be in jeopardy. There's no doubt. And if that happens, who knows what will happen with this team as currently constructed. Well, we'll see, ladies and gentlemen. We will see. I will be back on tonight for the post-game show. All right. I got a game. I have a game at 4 o'clock, so I got to get to the gym by 3. I'm going to head out and get to the gym. But tonight, after the game, have a little while. We'll be able to, talk. Hopefully we got some people on and, we'll have a good show tonight and talk about what the Knicks can do in the future. Obviously, we'll talk about the game. We'll talk about where they should be going in the future. But ladies and gentlemen, I appreciate your time. I know it's a short show. Apologize about that. All right. I'm hoping I think the Knicks can get this win tonight, though. They got to be more desperate than the Cavs. They got to be. Got to be more desperate than them. But I'm going to head out so that I can get to my game. Hopefully we can come away with a win tonight. This is a team that beat us earlier, 40-38. You know what I mean? We should be hungry, but we'll see. We played a tough game on Friday, and we haven't fully recovered. We got some girls who were sick. We got some girls who were injured. It's going to be a battle. And this is a game we were up 15 and ended up losing it. We'll see what we do. I'll let you know in the postgame show. But ladies and gentlemen, I'm out of here. I appreciate your time. In the postgame show, we'll have more time for calls and comments and all kinds of things. So I'll talk to you then, folks. I'm out of here. Peace.
This is NBK, nothing but Knicks. When Sim passed the assist, you know that it's #1 show that breaks down the game. If you can't play defense, stay out my way. Dribble the ball, come down the lane. 5 seconds on the shot clock, who gon' win us the game? You wanna hear Nick updates and trade rumors? Post-game reviews, this the place you tune in. So tell a friend just to keep the ball moving. Like the page if you feeling the movement. Every game we coming to win. Give us a sub like a player that came off the bench. This is NBK, nothing but Knicks.